So let me tell you about my favorite all-time client. So I'm trying to think of a fictitious name for her that I feel is her, except not her. We're gonna go with Nellie. So Nellie, she did in fact submit an inquiry form on my website, and she was just really excited to hear about me, especially because it was a referral of somebody that I knew. And her situation was that she, first of all, had her own business, so she worked out of her home. And second of all, she had actually been, she'd been a widow for about 10 years, and she was finally dating somebody very serious. And she said it's kind of on the down low at this point, but I'm thinking about getting remarried. And so we're gonna have to deal with the logistics of merging two homes with our kind of grown high school kids coming together into the same place. So the reason why she was working with the interior designer is partially because, they had to go through the process of figuring out how they were going to, how they're basically how they were going to all move into one of the two houses while still kind of, keeping the decor and the tradition and not writing out the history of one family out of the home, if that makes sense. So her whole premise of calling me was, she said, I have worked with professional organizers in the past. She said, because I know that I am very ADD and I need somebody to come and help me kind of focus, hold my feet to the fire. That's her phrase. Make sure that I don't get distracted and sit down and read a book for the whole afternoon. Basically, what she came to me with was like a real self-awareness that this is how she is. She knows that she's not going to do it without me. And she, what she said about having worked with an organizer in the past was that she really found her a little bit kind of judgmental and kind of harsh, kind of inflexible, and she said she was looking for fresh new energy and she was excited to meet me. So that was basically the situation. Now that was 2 years ago, so that's when we started out. So when the premise of me going over for the very first time, I went for a consultation, was that we needed to start decluttering her home, and they were going to be making the decision of kind of, were they going to move into her house or were they going to find a new house, kind of new territory for all of them to move into. So so really the first order of business was, she had lived in that house for 25 years and needed to start going through her stuff. So she signed a package of 8 sessions with me from the first consultation. So that was just for your reference, that's a sale for me of $1,800, because I work in packages, and that's what she knew she wanted to start with. So I started off going actually twice a week. So we worked through that first package really quickly. She re-signed for another package, and then we went on that one a little bit slower. So it was about once every 2 weeks. So that was kind of what her needs were at that time. So we actually, in the past 2 years, have continued to work with each other on a consistent basis. And she told me probably in that first month that she said, you realize I'm going to need you forever, right? And I said, okay, like that's totally fine with me. And she and I just ended up being a really good fit for each other. And I'll get back to that in a second. But I wanted to finish telling you that in the last 2 years, we have decluttered and downsized and moved out of her old home. We have organized and stored her 2 kids that are in college, all of their belongings for when they're ready to make their decisions for their stuff. We have her interior designer, my friend, did work on the interior design of their new home. She also sold their old home, so she and I kind of like tag teamed. Like I helped Nellie declutter and stage her old home, and then my friend was showing it for her, helped her make the sale, helped her buy the new home, helped her design the new home, and then I helped her move into the new home and helped the two of them after they got married. So they had one wedding they had to, plan for and get through to, which was, of course, really chaotic and crazy. So I was there for her through all of that. Once she got into her new home, we unpacked, we situated. And the thing about her that's really amazing is that she has really kept up her results because she is so motivated by the fact that, she values my time like gold when we're there, and she also wants to make sure that we don't undo all the progress that she's done. So I think that that's really important because she, again, her knowing that she would never do this on her own, and the fact that she, pays me good money to come and, more or less assist her and be her moral support, that really in itself motivates her to keep up her results rather than letting it get all crazy again. She's been very careful about the things that she has bought, especially too, since we have given away so many things. A couple more things I want to touch on. I wrote down on here why we hit it off so well. The funny thing is that at the beginning it took me a little bit of time to figure her out because she was very much the kind of take charge on her own kind of person, and she would ask for my advice. She would tell me that she was overwhelmed and say, okay, Jen, I'm getting really flustered, I'm getting kind of overwhelmed, like what do we do next? And I would kind of calm her down and say, okay, here's what our plan is. And then she would say, nope, I know what we're gonna do, and then we would go and do that. So she was the kind of person who really needed to bounce ideas off of me more so and know that I was going to help her focus and get the job done. And so at first this was a little bit hard for me to feel out with her at first, and because I kind of had to keep asking, like, okay, are we going too fast? Are we going too fast? Are we going too slow? Like, are you I didn't say it in this way, but I'm like, are you happy with me? Like, are you getting a lot out of this? And she just oh my gosh, told me from day one, she's like, you have no idea how much value you bring and peace of mind you bring to my home. It is worth every penny. So that was fantastic. And she was also the kind of person who was a little bit, we were packing up her priceless china and antiques that have been handed through generations. And I'll just be honest, I didn't, grow up learning about china patterns or antique silver. And so I would kind of hold something up and say, is this something you want to keep? And she would look at me like I was crazy. She's like, you don't know that's worth so much money. So, we kind of had to learn, I've learned something new with every single client. We had to learn a little bit about each other's styles, but once we did, we just, have gotten along fabulously. And again, she made it clear. She was like, I need you. She's like, I need you for the maintenance. I need you for the motivation. And so our relationship has just really grown, and it's been very special to me too over the past 2 years because she, has really encouraged me a lot in different ways too, because we've really gotten to know each other and know each other. I know her family very well. So the last thing I wanted to write down, why she stayed a client, and that's the same thing I've been touching on, but also I just kind of want to open your eyes to this possibility, is that you might think right now, who is going to pay me $1,800 to come organize their house one time, much less repeat that process over and over and over again over the years. And it certainly does, of course, have has the correlation with, the money that they make. I mean, she has a really very successful business doing what she does. But also the thing that I noticed about her from the beginning is that, she's still pretty, she's pretty, not frugal, but she's very intentional about her money. And because not every client who has tons of money, they certainly don't waste it on totally frivolous things all the time, or otherwise they wouldn't still have their money. She really talked herself into, how she justified my price to herself. She would say, we are giving away tons of stuff to donation that I never would have done. She's like, we sit down every single time. She wants to document it and make sure that we write it all down so that she can write it off on her taxes. She talked to her accountant, and the days that I work with her specifically on her business, like business organizing, that is tax deductible for her. So I mean, she basically says like, look, like this is pay, like this helps pay for you. Like this also for her is, as she says, a very needed kind of mental health, calm you down kind of service. I mean, I wouldn't quite say I'm as good as like Xanax at calming her, but it definitely has a huge effect on her life, and I know that she really values that. And even if in the future, I'm only going there once every 3 months, for example, I know that we're maintaining work that we have invested a lot in, and that she really takes that seriously, unlike, a client who's getting something for nothing. I mean, they don't value it the same. And you guys know that because I'm sure you've experienced that in your life too. So that is a little bit about my friend Nellie. And, I want to know, like, what about this story surprises you? Anything? Does anything about this, really shock your way of thinking? If you have been organizing for a while and find it hard to imagine, like, what is the process of moving from like charging $35 an hour or $50 an hour up to moving way up the scale to charging $100 an hour or more? How do I do that? And I don't make this a huge secret. I package my prices, I make everything all inclusive, and I really sell them on the value of that total package solution for their home. You don't have to wait until you are, what you consider super experienced in order to bump your rates up to that level. And so that's what is so exciting about it, because if you're starting your business now for the first time, I truly 100% believe that you can kind of move into that more advanced way of thinking, because that's the way I did it from day one, and I didn't really have anybody's permission to do that. And you guys might see me as like kind of the crazy risk-taking one, and I hope that you want to learn from my experience, because I certainly did, I made mistakes, but I have been able to consistently make those kinds of sales from the very beginning.